against Odisha Sports in the last game, and after starting off their campaign with a thumping victory of 4-0 against Sirvodem Sports Club, the side from Goa. So, how do you look at this Indian Arrows side?
We already spoke about it in the earlier game. When we talk about the Indian Arrows, this is a project with All India Football Federation started to give the young players an opportunity to be there playing against the stronger opponent, getting that experience which is required so that the pathway is very clear for them. When they come into the senior level of football, they have enough number of games in their bag, good experience, the motivation level is good, and it's a very nice project, I would say. So we should not look at how they perform in terms of winning and losing, but the developmental part is very very important for especially the Indian Aeros women's team.
And SETHU Madurai, they had a hard-fought victory against ARA Football Club, the side from Gujarat, and they look to carry on their winning momentum. How crucial is this tie, Shakti sir, in order to stay in sync with Gokulam Kerala for the top spot?
Agreed with you because Setu FC, as you rightly said, are the former champions. They have tasted the success of IWL, a very experienced side with few of the international players in the squad. So they are aware about the calculation and how the ups and downs in the leagues come in. What are the games where they need to not only win but win with bigger margins, and the teams how they need to rotate the players. But this match again, it's an important because they are coming up with two back-to-back wins, also a goal difference of +6, which is very vital when we talk about a longer league. We know the difference what Gokulam FC has made in just these three games is huge. But when they're going to face Gokulam FC, that match will be very crucial. It would be maybe a do or die match. So not only winning the games but winning with big margin is also important, and we can expect such game from Setu FC today.
And Indian Arrows, they will be looking to make a mark in their debut season of the Hero Indian Women's League, and the club intends to bring new players into the scene and turn them into better footballers for the future.
Absolutely, and this and most of the girls, they were part of the league, which the tournament, the SAF game, which recently concluded, and they were the champions also. So they have that experience of playing at international level, but at a certain age group. So they played against the girls who were of their same age, but now they're going to play against the senior women teams, irrespective of the level. But yes, it is going to be tough, but a lot of learning for not only the girls but also for the coaching staff, how to prepare them game after game, because the level of the teams is a lot of difference. Like there are sides like Gokulam and Kickstart who are very strong, including Setu FC, and there are some teams which are not that competitive. So preparing strategy, the style of play, that vary from game to game. So it is always interesting to see that how quickly these young players adapt to the situation and try to perform at the best of the game.
With the Hero Indian Women's League with Pan India now, and it will be encouraging many budding footballers to pursue this sport in their respective region. Your take on this?
Yes, it's we are very happy to see that the number of team has increased, the number of games have increased, and we would also love to see in future that more number of teams can come in and a longer, league with around 15 to 18 teams or maybe up to 20 teams in coming years, where league can also be extended for 2 to 3 months, where longer contracts can be given to the female players. It becomes a kind of opportunity where they get a lot of games, and whenever national calls are there, they are match fit, and the coach doesn't have to work a lot on the match fitness or the technical aspect. Just try and work on the tactical part of the upcoming tournaments.
And this Indian Arrows team, mostly consisting of 17 and 18 years old, they are competing against the professional players and with professional clubs and overseas players playing in the Hero Indian Women's League.
Yeah, they are, as I already mentioned, that this is an opportunity for them to showcase their talent. We have seen some good performance from Priyanka, Amisha, Apurna. A lot of these girls are trying to show their worth that at 17, 18 also they can play kind of a game where they can call for the senior national camp also.
And Crispin Chetri, the head coach of Setu FC, he will look to solidify his defense, which looked slightly jittery in the early stages in the opening game, but very powerful while going forward. So it is going to be a battle between two equally matched teams, which are at the moment could define this game. Which are the areas that could define this game, you reckon?
But to talk about positive first, if I talk about Setu FC, they have scored 8 goals, and out of those 8 goals, we have 7 different scorers. So that's a very positive sign for Setu FC coach Christian, because there are 7 different goal scorers, from the team. So you don't rely on a couple of players. So that's a very positive sign. But again, when we talk about the drawbacks, the areas for improvement is the defense. They score goals, but they concede goal also, which is a big what we say a drawback, because you need to solidify your defense. A win 1-0 win is also good enough, but when you start conceding, the pressure also build up. So try to organize a defense, try to see that you don't concede your scoring goals, which is very good, but conceding goals is not that good. And especially teams like you know young team like
Young
Indian
players.
Arrows, where there is nothing to lose for these girls. So they will play their heart out, and we have seen a lot of young girls, fast girls, and if they get those half chances, they have the ability or the talent to convert into full chances.
Now let's hear from the head coach of Indian Arrows, Suren Chetri. He spoke to us ahead of this tie.
For the next one.
Yeah, girls are ready. They are ready to play, but they are quite inexperienced side. But we are playing against the experienced side. Yeah, Setu has a good history also. Yeah, we are ready and motivated.
So, what are your thoughts on Setu?
Yeah, Setu, as I said, Setu is an experienced team, and some of my experienced girls are out today because of injuries. Yeah, but girls are ready to give a good fight, and they are really motivated. And the session was good yesterday, and all are happy and motivated to perform well on. And so, younger players rubbing shoulders with some of the experienced ones. How important is it in terms of building their character, building their competitive mentality among the players?
Yeah, but the voice was not that clear of Suren, but what I could understand is yes, he was talking about the young players playing against experience and playing up to the potential is very important. And rightly said by you, Sohan, that it's important that this age is the golden age. Irrespective of the winning games, yeah, winning mentality is very important, which coach need to inculcate in the players. But again, this is the age. This is the time where development is priority than winning. So Suren Chetri should look into the areas where the individual development of the players and the holistic development as a whole team, how they are progressing and how they are moving ahead, game after game. That is more important. So yes, he definitely might have made a game plan, and hopefully the girls play according to that game plan of the coach.
And with the inclusion of foreign players in the league, do you think it is raising the profile of the Hero Indian Women's League globally?
Yes, for sure, it is going to raise the profile of the Indian Women's League, and in coming years, we may see some top names also coming into the IWL playing. And this is not only raising the level of the league, but it is going to be more competitive. The players will get an opportunity to play against international players who are technically and tactically more sound. So it is, being it will be an opportunity for our girls also to raise their own level and to match up to them. So ultimately, it's going to be a win-win situation for everyone.
So now let's get into the team news of Indian Arrows and their head coach Suren Chetri going with a 4-3-3. And Amisha Buxla and Apurna Narzari played together in the SAF under 18, and they have got telepathic understanding. And no Martina Thokcham though, but Muskan Subha and Aarti starts together. Do you think the absence of Martina Thokcham gonna affect Indian Arrows' game playing style?
See, as you mentioned, the players who have good understanding between them, and when you stay together for a longer time, when you train together for a longer time, that understanding between both the players, as well as the non-verbal communication, the movements, that comes naturally. So it's going to be a very good game for both of them, as both the players know each other. But yes, when experienced defender is missing in the line, it definitely it doesn't disturb, but it the momentum breaks. But yes, all the girls stay together, they work together, so it's going to be not that big challenge, I feel.
And Sunita Munda, the player from Jharkhand, who was in a red hot form during the SAF Under 18 Championship. And Indian Arrow still looks very strong, Shakti sir, despite the absence of Martina.
Yes, looking at these young girls, we see, yes, there is a lot of opportunity for them. They are motivated, they are excited to play the league also, because it's a debut season for them, and they are ready to go, because they also want to prove themselves that at 17, 18, they are ready to don the senior national women's team color. So it's an opportunity for them also.
What is the next step from here on, you see, in terms of developing this league?
It is very important for the All India Football Federation to keep this group intact, give them more time. Not only just the league, but continue them around the year, and keeping them for at least 2 3 years more, giving them the needed exposure trips. At the Asian level or the European level, where if we have a plan for 2 3 years, I feel this girls will be ready, and when they come to the senior level, they will have that experience, and the coach working with the senior women team will not have that big challenge when it comes to the technical part. As already mentioned, we need to work on more on the tactical part and the strategy part, rather than working on the technical aspect at the highest level.
Recently, the Indian women's national team had an exposure trip to Jordan, defeated the sides like Egypt and Jordan by a solitary goal. So we are in the right step when it comes to the women's football.
Agreed, because the number of exposure trips and the tournaments, which the matches which the women's team is getting since last 3 4 years, is commendable, and all credit goes to All India Football Federation, the women's department, because they are working really good, really hard to give this girls, the women, an opportunity to develop, because we know that. Women's team has a brighter opportunity or brighter chance to get into FIFA World Cup very soon. So, giving them all the ammunition which is required for them to reach that level is also important. And I'm very happy that, every stakeholder, right from the Ministry of Sports, India government, is also helping them. So it's a very good sign.
Now let's hear from the head coach of Sethu Football Club, Crispin Chetri.
They are young ones, so I think their hustle and bustle us. It's just that it's always difficult against a young side, and they have got a very good potential. So for us, we just have to be composed, and we have to maintain our composure. Yeah,
And 2 matches, 2 wins. How is the mood in the dressing room ahead of the third match?
yeah, you always want to win. Yeah, so it's always good to get 3 points. So we are focused, and like I said, we will keep our composure and get our job done.
So he said that it is very important to maintain the composure. Hey, the composure being the key word here because all his interviews are splattered with that footballing term. Shakti sir.
Composure is very very important, but not only composure, consistency is also important. Once you are on the winning track, it's important to keep that momentum, because that momentum is very very important. Once you are in the winning track, keep winning the games, and the more you win, the more confidence you get, and you create that gap between yourself and the other teams, which is very important. That puts off the pressure on the later stage of the league, where we have seen what happened with PSG. They have won the league with a lot of games left. So this is also very important. So try to win as much as game as possible in the initial stage. So those calculation and permutation at the end, doesn't count, because you are through and throughout. Yes, it's going to be Chetri versus Chetri. Let us see which Chetri is going to have the upper hand in this game.
And few players are also attracting a lot of interest from the foreign clubs. Manisha Kalyan of Gokulam Kerala being the recent example. Yeah, after her performance in the Hero IWL, she attracted offers from Australia, from Dubai, and with the games getting televised, how bigger is this platform for the youngsters, especially to prove themselves?
So I already said that in the earlier game that we talk about Bala Devi. She is playing for Rangers. We have seen Aditi also playing in England. So there are a lot of girls, talented girls like Dalima Chikar. She is also one of the brightest talent which we have in Indian football. Manisha is there, Grace is there, Aditi is there. There are a lot of other girls also who I'm damn sure is going to get some or the other offers to play at the European level or the Asian level because they have the potential to play at the highest level of women's football.
So, how this particular tournament gonna help in terms of sporting talents?
Yes, thanks to the Eurosports and YouTube channel because now this is telecast. So scouts, not only in India but across the globe, will have the access to watch these girls, and if they feel they fit into the system, they can come and help their team. Definitely, they are going to get those calls for trials or even contracts at the European or the Asian level, and that is what we want. We want these girls to have more number of match, more number of competitive match, playing against more stronger opponent because that is what is going to help them improve themselves. And these all girls are very young, and the more they get opportunity to play at that level, it is going to help the Indian national team, and that is the ultimate aim. When they go out, they come back with a lot of experience, and that is going to help the international team whenever they are playing for the Asian qualifiers or the World Cup qualifiers.
Now, let's get into the team lineup of Sethu Madurai. There is that striker from Kenya, Elizabeth. And suddenly, Indian Arrows have a tall and physical player to mark in the final third. What would be the plan against her?
Yes, as we always talk about international players. So whenever there are international players, it's going to be difficult. We talk about Elizabeth she coming in, tall, strong African player, bringing in that strength and the speed. It will be challenge for the Indian Aeros girls, but this is what they want. They want to have that challenge, and they are going if they're going to try to successful in stopping Elizabeth today. This is going to boost their confidence for the upcoming games.
Grace, Anju, and Kartika forming a midfield triangle. Uh, Shakti sir, very narrow system. Is that a weapon in case of faster retention of the ball in midfield?
Yes, if you see Anju, Grace, Elizabeth, this are they play in the spine. They play in the central channel, which is very important because most of the movement, from if you want to go from left to right or right to left, you want to switch the game. That is the place where it's going to happen, and they are the one who's going to go towards the zone 14, which you talked about earlier. Also, most dangerous place to create an attack, to score a goal, to be build on the threat. So these girls are playing in that position, and it's going to be difficult for the Indian Arrows girls. But yes, they are motivated. They are the squad of the under 18 national team, so they're going to play good football. I'm sure.
And with the All India Football Federation working in culmination with all the state associations, and we can see Hero I League happening in West Bengal and the Hero IWL in Odisha, and also Santosh Trophy in Kerala. So that understanding between All India Football Federation and the state governments, this particular culmination, how is it helping in terms of the grassroots level development?
See, we always talk about stakeholders. There is a nice saying: "Alone I can do little; together we can do much more." So all the stakeholders, right from the state association, the government of India, the state governments, the All India Football Federation, the clubs, the academies, everybody are coming together. They're trying to contribute at their level, which is important because it's not job of one person; it's job of everybody, and that is why we can say this is the festival of Indian football. Right now, as you rightly said, the I League is going on, the IW going on, Santosh Trophy going on, and not only that, we also see the Youth Developmental League is going on in Goa also. So a
Goa.
lot of football happening across India, which is a very very positive sign. And this is what we coaches, we football fans would love to see happening around the year.
Before I wrap up, my last question is to you. If I ask you to predict this one, what would be your prediction?
Uh, Looking at both the squad, yes, there is a slightly upper hand of Setu FC going into this game, but we can not underestimate the young girls from Indian Arrows. It will be a tough match, but I think Setu FC may sneeze in by a couple of goals to win this match.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sakti sir. And now we will go back to the Kalinga Stadium, where live action coming up your way. Stay tuned. And Indian Arrows, they've showed bravery and fight in their previous match, just snatching a draw against Odisha Sports, and more of that will be required against Sethu Madurai this evening in the Hero Indian Women's League. These are the match officials. The referee for today's game is Kanika Burman, and she is going to be assisted by Sujata Palit and Bashudev Pal. And the fourth official for today's game is Jamal Mohammed and match commissioner Rajiv Chaudhary. And Indian Arrows will be looking to make a mark in their debut season. As I have mentioned, it is a All India Football Federation's developmental project designed to provide valuable game time to the brightest young footballers in the country. And they are all set for this season's Hero Indian Women's League. And the team consisting of mostly 17 and 18-year-olds competing against the professional clubs with overseas players in the Hero Indian Women's League. The Indian Arrows team playing in the Hero Indian Women's League. The Indian Arrows is looking to groom the girls from a very young age and transform them into fine footballers. And the girls who had missed out on the Under-17 Women's World Cup, who would be 19, are to be considered for the team. As Adrija getting a start, her third start this season between the sticks, and Santosh starting as well alongside her defensive partner. Pushparani switches to the left back to accommodate Parmila at right back, and Muskan Subha starts in midfield, as so as Arti. And those are the changes for Suren Chetri. The biggest priority will be to keep the solidity in defense intact, and they have kept 2 clean sheets already, and this evening will be eyeing for the third one. Suren Chetri, he knew he had a tougher assignment when he took over at Indian Arrows, and his team has shown some character, and that intangible quality has to turn into results for them, and ending the season on a high could make huge difference for everyone involved. As for Amisha Buxla, look to snatch her chance. The effort is there, but the finishing will hopefully catch up. She can be handful though, so Sethu Madurai must be careful. In Indian Arrows, they've got a decent bench, of course. They've got Anjana Thapa, Priyanka Devi, and even Ritu. She is in there. And now getting into the team news of Sethu Madurai, no changes from Crispin Chetri. It's a 4-3-3 Kausalya in defense and Paudi Grace. In midfield, Elizabeth starts and Renu up front alongside Sandhya. And defending set pieces seems to be a huge issue for Sethu Madurai. 3 goals so far this season for them. They've scored 8 and conceded 1. As for Crispin Chetri, he took over as a head coach and immediately went about trying to solidify what was becoming a defensively soft side. A point has come so as a moment, but that draw could have been a win. It's been a while we have seen Elizabeth pop up with a goal. And the last time she scored was on 16th April in that 6-1 win against Mata Rukmani. So Mariammal and Sunita Sarkar are the experienced first team players available for Crispin Chetri in case he needs them. When the numbers say there is oddity in the way Sethu Madurai start and end games, almost as if they need time to remind themselves what their jobs are. Their first half tends to be wasteful affairs, and final 15 turn into chaotic moments of dropping defenders, considering they have got 6 points. And Crispin Chetri will hope his team know they need to start strong and end strong, because football can be fickle, and what happens in between those phases can easily be forgotten. And Indian Arrows were never part of discussion for the top 4, and they started the season with energy and vigour, both of which have been found at times and faded at others. A team with a strong contingent in attack, both Apurna Narzari and Sunita Munda must be doing more, and 2 players or more do not make a team. And this is that one fixture where calculating the odds who might score is more risky business. But we do know when SETHU Madurai and Indian Arrows clashes on the pitch together at the same time, entertainment is a mere certainty. Well, a victory for Indian Arrows will take them above SETHU Madurai in the table. Another twist to the league stage. And if you told these 2 teams that they could play each other all season, they probably would say yes, why not, because it is incredibly fun. And SETHU Madurai unperturbed on their travels, but surely this one of those tough places to come and play football. For SETHU Madurai, their recent form is certainly champion-like, while that has probably come too early for them. Entertaining football is certainly back in Bhubaneswar, while the pink machines not managing to maintain their winning momentum. We are all set for kickoff. It is match number 18, and we are live on the YouTube page of the Indian football team from the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar. The Indian Arrows coach added that it is comparatively easier for him to understand the obstacles in managing a team based around Indian players, and his tenure in Indian football as a player and now as a coach allows him to imbibe and implement the club's philosophy better. And so it is the first time that Indian Arrows and SETHU Madurai are playing against each other in the Hero Indian Women's League. In the previous 2 matches, they have scored 12 goals. This was a personification of what coach's job gonna be like this season, and it is do or die for SETHU Madurai. A loss here means mathematically it's gonna be challenging to make the top spot. And so Indian Arrows up against SETHU Madurai, this time to settle a score, this time to settle the top spot. Early cross comes in, some long confusion, and it's cleared by Shanmuga Priya. And what a start for SETHU Madurai, and almost the fastest goal of the Hero Indian Women's League's 5th season. And so close, the team in pink, and averting the danger. Shanmuga Priya, that was nearly the first goal for SETHU Madurai. What a moment. Corner taken shot, ball comes in, keeper saves and falls plans precisely for the skipper. Good goalkeeping there by Adrija Sharkal. Kausalya is the skipper of SETHU Madurai. They've shaped up in a 4-3-3 with Arifa, Kausalya, Paudi and Pavitra making up the back 4. Grace, she is the defensive midfielder, the number 11, and Anju and Kartika to his right and left, and that front 3 of Renu, Elizabeth and Sandhya. Elizabeth, she's gonna be central, aided by Renu on her right and Sandhya or to her left. This is SETHU Madurai coming forward. That's a very deft touch behind. A clever run from Arifa. Arifa again, exploiting that right channel. Already delivered a very glorious delivery within the opening seconds. And wake-up call for Indian Arrows early on. They got to deal with a throw-in now. It seems like it's the corner kick. And the first corner of the game for Sethu Madurai, the team from Tamil Nadu. A ball comes in towards the number 9, taken away by Arti. Cushions it behind. And the development doesn't bears fruit. Ball retention very, very quick from Sethu. This is this number 7, Sandhya. She scored a blinder against ARA Football Club. And almost a mistake from Ardrija. She got to concentrate in a bit of a subconscious state of mind. Ardrija with a very jittery start early on, arrows. Another corner for Sethu Madurai. This time it is the number 9, Anju. She will be delivering it from the left hand side. Sethu Madurai, ball sent in into the middle. There's the header. No power on it. And the deflection in the way, taking the sting out of it. An easy collection for Adrija. Both the times Indian Arrows surviving. A high interception from the number 12, Apurna Narzari. And all Apurna, Sunita Munda, Amisha Baksla had a very impressive outing in the SAF Championship. Amisha Baksla, especially from the wings, affected the matches in big way in a central role for this one tonight. Those two holding fort for Sethu Madurai and Kaushalya and Paudi. And the two fullbacks, Arifa and Pavitra, pushing higher up the pitch, creating more passing angles, more options in midfield. 4 shirts in blue inside the Sethu Madurai territory. And now the 5th one joining. Still battling for it, Arti. There was a player upon her. Nicely done there by Muskan. Muskan taking route 1. Gonna be easily defended there by Shanmuga Priya. By Arifa, pardon me, the number 3. The right full back for Sethu Madurai. And Indian Arrows with a 4-3-3. It uses 4 defenders, make up of 2 centre backs and 2 full backs, being a midfield line of 3. And the most common setup in midfield is 1 deep player, the single pivot, and the 2 slightly more advanced to either side. And the front line is then composed of 2 wide attackers who can play on either side of a single centre forward. And in response to the 1950 World Cup final, a defeat at home to Uruguay, Brazil started to use a backline of 4 in a 4-2-4 formation. They went on to use this formation at the 1958 World Cup as well, the Brazilian team, and they won it. In 1962, Brazil had adapted once more to create a 4-3-3 structure in which Mario Zagallo dropped from the front line into midfield. The formation used across Italy, Argentina, Uruguay was out of fashion for a long time, and now slowly gaining the limelight. And a move developing for Sethu Madurai from the right, and the goalkeeper sensing it coming off and making the clearance, taking no chance whatsoever, Adrija. And the Indian Arrows women's team, they are a hub of exciting footballing youngsters who have progressed far and wide, and many young players from men's team have benefited from the Arrows project. The national team players like Dheeraj Singh Moirangtham, Suresh Wangjam, Akash Mishra, Apuya are proof that Indian Arrows has truly been India's football's talent factory. And with the success of the Arrows men's team, All India Football Federation launching the women's one. We'll come back to that. And a chance almost falling for the number 14, cleared away just in time. Clearance drops on the end, chance to shoot, and a breakaway move from the Arrows. They can trigger a very quick move here. Muskan Shubha out wide to the right, and now on the run is the number 7, Amisha Baksla. Excellent challenge from Pavitra. It's going to be out for an Arrows corner. Set piece is going to be very, very crucial in this tournament. And earlier in the day we saw scoring directly from a corner kick, Purnima Linda, the right back of SSB Women. And this time Amisha Buxla. She's got 4 blue players waiting inside the box. And the loose ball eventually falls for a snapshot. The keeper getting down just in time. And dropping off very quickly. The defensive unit of Indian Arrows, look at that. Only 2 were pressing forward. Elizabeth is one of them. Muscled away by Elizabeth. And now she could hamper the game with her pace. So, a very poor second touch. A slight nudge from behind on Shanmuga Priya. She won't mind. She is not complaining either. They look to rebuild Arifa. Kaushalya. Grace. Asking too much of Elizabeth with that long pass. The Indian Arrows women's team are playing in the Hero Indian Women's League. They're looking to groom girls from a very young age and transform them into fine players. And the All India Football Federation launching the Arrows project. And this program has been initiated by the All India Football Federation's president in support of the sports minister, an entire sports ministry, and also realizes that these talented young girls should not be ignored and should be groomed and trained to become better footballers. The target set for the current crop of girls is to train and groom them for the Women's World Cup in 2027. Sandhya, she is offside. Sandhya, a lot of space for her. Keeper is caught off guard. She quickly tracks back and had to make a dive to prevent the ball from going in. A slight lapse in concentration. She needs greater support from that back 4. And almost inviting Elizabeth to rush in. Sandhya very cleverly playing it quick past Adrija. And that would have landed into the back of the net. And there's that interception from Pavitra. Sandhya seeing plenty of the ball. They are off to a sublime start here. SETHU Madurai, the former champions, Anju, is switching it out wide for the number 15, Renu. She will eventually get there with her pace. Continuing to offer support is the number 12, Karthika. Not going to affect Indian Arrows, that particular shot. The goal kick has gone out of play. Throw in for the Arrows. The Indian Arrows men's team already had a huge success with several players. We'll come back to that. A slight opening for Sethu Madurai from the right hand side this time. Anju couldn't keep her shot on target. Excellent through ball. It was a difficult angle to score from, but got to appreciate her efforts getting there in the right places at the right time. And if they keeps pressing this way, a goal will eventually come. A very, very vital block there, caught out of position. But the weight on that overhead ball was not perfect, even though the gap did open up. She had one eye on exploiting that gap, but the weight just deceiving her. She was almost caught in possession. Powdy, the number 4. These younger girls training at a very young age has truly benefited the Indian Arrows football and its budding players. The Arrows women's team and its grassroots level development will benefit hugely. And this truly is a step in the right direction for Indian women's football and also for the Indian women's football team, national football team. On that account, Pavitra asking for it. Elizabeth, she was the intended target. Standing strong there is Santosh. And Indian Arrows were off to a flyer with the 4-0 win over Sirvadam Sports Club, the side from Goa, with Priyanka scoring a brace and the other two scored by Apurna Narzari and Amisha Baksla. In the last game, they played out a 0-0 draw against Odisha Police at the 7th Battalion ground. A win from here on will take them to 7 points from 3 matches. It will keep them within the top 4. And Sandhya, she scored from a similar sort of distance in the previous one. And operating from the left hand side tonight here. Beautiful footwork. And now almost slipping in the number 7. A committed piece of defending there by Santosh. Thwarting the move. Still defending in numbers, Indian Arrows. Adrija, she's been put into pressure in the opening minutes. The first quarter of an hour gone here. It's still 0-0. This might change things here. Foul on the goalkeeper. And inside the 6-yard box, that is a keeper's zone. Even the faintest of touch will draw a foul in favor of the keeper. And Adrija Circle benefiting from it. The ball whipped in. So much chaos and confusion in the goal mouth, but the number 7, Sandhya, went up for it illegally, which is why a referee just blowing the whistle. Kaushalya away from 1. Pavitra is very much congested in the center of the park. Eventually, SETHU Madurai will have to take help and attack down the wings. There's an early ball towards the number 7. She sneaks in and gets the job done. Here's the skipper of SETHU Madurai. Sandhya once again to the rescue for the side from Tamil Nadu, the former champions of the Hero Indian Women's League. A clever run made by the number 7. An excellent through ball. Following it to the last minute, rounding the goalkeeper. Rolling it into the back of the net. And a perfect start for SETHU Madurai against the Indian Arrows. Now you can see Elizabeth slightly from the left, dropping deep. Sandhya taking up the central role. You'll see the switch and swap happening time and again. It's not a fluid front 3. It is flexible. It's not static. To be precise, ball kept in play by Apurna Narzari. Still Apurna dealing with it. Apurna one way then the other, creating room for the cross. Miscued clearance. But Anju is there to add a few more yards to it. And Renu, she can throw on a counter for SETHU Madurai. But they are lacking in intensity. There's that run being offered. Elizabeth is released. Anju getting to it first. Elizabeth making her way into the box. And now she's getting close to Anju for support, and now brought down from behind. That lunging challenge from Parmila. That was a challenge on Elizabeth. Referee awarding a goal kick, and maybe Kanika Burman thinks she went down too easily. The striker from Kenya. The recruitment of the coaches begun very early, and the program would have started if not for the pandemic of the Indian Arrows women's team. And this year would have witnessed the first ever appearance of the Indian Arrows team in the Hero Indian Women's League, as we are already witnessing it. Their debut campaign. It's a decent start. And no conviction in the clearance. Taken away by Kartika. Kaushalya. Paudi. Pavitra completely free to her left. Goes towards Grace. Anju. Closing the door down at the right time is Mushkan Subha. Easily picked up. Without being under pressure. And Aarti in a bit of a free role, working as a pendulum in the middle of the park for the Arrows. There's that pressure being applied, and in the end she is double teamed, and Indian Arrows have lost possession of the ball. Renu Elizabeth is waiting in the box. Delivery headed away by Pushparani. Attempted shot is blocked. Has got no chance now. Apurna Narzari holding up play brilliantly. And now Arrows there on the break. Excellent acceleration there. And outnumbered in the end. Stopping the attack in its flow. Kaushalya with the good work at the back for Sethu Madurai. And in the land of Jigar Thanda, Malipo, and the Minakshi Temple, the young girls of a football club established in Madurai harbour, aiming for World Cup. The winner of the 2019 Indian Women's League, the country's top professional women's football league. It's been a meteoric rise for Sethu FC, which opened its door to women not only in 2016 and made the Hero IWL semi-finalists just 2 years after that. In May, that rise culminated in a 3-1 win by a squad of women who hails from villages and towns across the length and breadth of Tamil Nadu over Manipur Police, a team from a state that has utterly dominated women's football in India with 19 senior women's national football championship titles. The number is 25 in fact now. Manipur also winning this edition of the Hero Senior National Women's Championship in Kerala. Running behind a ball in shots isn't an activity for girls. It was exactly the word which was used. And that's what the girls were told when they started out. And their stories all follow that template of worried parents, know a few resources, and antiquated societal norms. I had a word with Gitanjali, and she mentioned that when she started playing full time, she would come home sometimes only for a day or just once in 2 months. The team's attacking midfielder with a penchant for headers. That would worry her parents. Again, dazzling into the area, Sandhya. Sils Sandhya, low cross towards Renu. Only as far as the number 12, Kartika. Straight at Adrija. Relentless in attack, Sethu Madurai. And Indian Arrows cannot afford to keep their step up. Pavitra, the number 14 defender from Thiruvadur. She also remembers her early days playing the game on an uneven, patchy ground with a determined physical education teacher. And he spoke about how the teacher putting his own money and readied the school ground for them to play. People rebuked, saying he was wasting his resources. That's when Pavitra was in class 6 and she didn't understand what about it was wastage. She also mentioned, adding that the coach saw that she had a talent for the game and convinced her parents to let her play. And then she went for the first nationals, and when she was in class 8 and represented India thrice. A wonderful story. Players eventually had to go through hardships in the end. And hard work really pays off. And now backing into a defender. This is the jersey number 7, Sandhya. Apurna Narzari getting engaged in a tussle with SETHU Madurai's number 11, Grace. She eventually lost the battle. Just a tad too long for Pavitra. She didn't have the legs to catch it up. From the center of the park, it is Karthika, Elizabeth. She's got Santosh to deal with. Elizabeth goes back out towards Aarti. She went up on the overlap. Karthika, Anju ahead of her. A through ball, trying to push in Elizabeth, not succeeding. This is Muskan Subha, Apurna Narzari. Breaking up play and recovering the ball for Sethu Madurai, and that is what Grace she is being tusked with. That was a mazy run. The outcome was not so positive. Pushpa Rani. Sethu Madurai and going with a 4-1-2-3. It splits players into 4 brands. The defensive unit consisting of standard centre backs and full backs and 2 defensive midfielders screening them can often be called as the double pivot. And the attacking unit consisting of band of 3 attacking midfielders and a lone central striker. The wide midfielders are generally the first dribblers who likes to cut inside or make runs into the box. The attacking midfielder, the number 10, creator, a passer, can play balls into the feet of either the wide attackers or a lone striker. It's a very good live formation. It has a springy quality and it absorbs pressure without breaking and then snaps back with surprising force. Elizabeth influencing play from deep, but that resulting pass not the one to remember from the Kenyan. We saw players from Kenya and the domestic football in India. One of them in men's football was Sammy Omolo, who played for East Bengal and also for Mohun Bagan. An absolute stalwart. We've also had Boniface Ambani playing for East Bengal and Sporting Club de Goa in the National Football League. He was also the top Golden Boot winner in Kenya's domestic league and vice captain of Kenya as well. Followed by Julius Owino. Lots of players. James Odiembo was part of Mohun Bagan's supreme team under Amal Datta. during the 1997 Kalyani Black Level Cup. And Apurna Narzari coming off the bench, scoring a wonderful goal against Nepal during the SAF Under 18 Championship. And I still remember being at the commentary box, watching her play from the vantage point. She made immediate impact. And not just her, Sunita Munda as well. He used to be Thomas Deneby's trump card for the second half. And Amisha Buxla was the regular starter, a first choice player. So was Priyanka Sujish. And now into the channel for Sandhya. A slight miscommunication there. The arrows still struggling. Elizabeth, she has got Sandhya to aim at. Elizabeth, a cross taking a deflection and almost coming into the path of Renu. Holds it up, Renu. Playing it behind for Anju. An early challenge from the number 9 Muskan Subha. Throw in for the arrows. A loose ball picked up. Trying to build up a move. Sethu Madurai of their own. Stringing few really good passes together. Muskan. And there's that touch. Turning out to be an attack for the Sethu Madurai. 71-29. The ball possession. Arifa going past the long legs of Elizabeth. Now arrows trying to get their acts together. It is the team in pink calling shots at the moment. Apurna Narzari. Attempted flick on towards nobody. Only for a pink shirt to clear. Kausalya. Anju. Pavitra. Getting noticed. The left back. Back to the goalkeeper Devi. Seen her after a long time. Hardly had a feel of the ball. It's been Sethu Madurai all over the arrows. Can Indian arrows bounce back from here on? One good move going forward can give them back the confidence which they are slightly lacking in. Just below the halfway, Anju playing it to the right for Arifa. And now Kartika, Elizabeth. Sandhya inside her. Still Elizabeth. Elizabeth goes past the marker. Elizabeth with the cross. Is out for a goal kick. Got to improve on her crossing. Still very young, the number 27. Sirvatam Sports Club. Sethu Madurai and Gokulam Kerala. These are the three teams fielding foreign players in the lineup. The rest of the teams relying on the Indian contingents Only one can be fielded in the starting 11. Two can be kept during the match day squad. Muskan committing a foul there, and free kick from a very promising area for Sethu Madurai. Both of them in a deep discussion, the number 9 and the number 11, Anju and Lalrampari. One of them hops over, some trouble brewing. Deflection as well, it was ballooned towards the back post. Well done by the goalkeeper. Just parrying it away. It took a big deflection off the wall. No, in fact it was a perfect lob towards the back post. Initially it looked like there was a deflection, but beautiful technique applied by Anju, using her instep. It was a nice idea. Just trying to surprise Adrija Sharkal. She may not have expected it towards the back post. And that is how you got to baffle the goalkeeper, by thinking something out of the box. Had that challenge not been on time from the goalkeeper, will have been the second goal for Sethu Madurai, because Elizabeth, she was in a one-on-one situation. Players just hydrating themselves. Well, that was the opening goal. A perfectly timed run. There's that defining touch from Sandhya. And it is her strike separating the two teams so far in this game. And every system, every style have got its own pros and cons. While at its best, this particular setup is a masterpiece of flexibility. When played poorly, it can be slow and cumbersome. That has been the case for the Arrows. Here is Elizabeth. Her feet just pulled from behind. A soft foul committed by the Arrows, and now they have a tall centre forward to mark. She can be very effective, and the job of the number 14 will be to trace Elizabeth. No elevation on the free kick. Muskan away from one. That's a very cheap giveaway. Renu, she also runs the ball out of pitch, out of play.
Midfield bands are forced to back and compress into a 4-5-1. The striker can be left isolated with very little support. The full-back's key to modern attacking football can also be trapped behind the midfield line. Or sometimes we see the opposite happening. The attacking band of midfielders neglect to track back and help their fullbacks. That allows the opposition wide players to overload the defense, and this is similar to the possible problems in a 4-3-3. And if the attacking wide players forget their duty to help the team when out of possession, however, it can be even more pronounced as the two defensive midfielders are left with a huge amount of pitch to cover. Here's Sandhya. Excellent acceleration in close quarter. Getting a lot of height on the cross. Elizabeth is in the mix. A hint of a handball. Rightly spotted by Kanika Burman. That was the header. And the number 12 creating a gap for the pass to be played. And there's that decoy run from behind. Took the entire Indian Arrows defense by surprise. Anju with that late run into the box. And that is the way SETHU Madurai they'll launch an attack. You never know which player are going to move in which direction. Very unpredictable, the front three of SETHU Madurai. From the wide position, cutting in onto a favourite left foot, and this time not allowing her to fancy her luck. A similar area from where she scored against Ara Football Club. And the Arrows must have seen the videos of how Sandhya operates. Elizabeth. That was a perfectly timed run from the Kenyan. So 5 minutes of regulation time in this half. It is SETHU Madurai leading by a solitary goal against the Indian Arrows. Thanks to that goal being scored by Sandhya on the 16th minute mark. Anju holding off a challenge. Apurna Narzari with the most number of touches in the first half for the Arrows in the attacking part. There's the 17, Shanmuga Priya. And encouraging players to push forward. SETHU Madurai, their coach continuously from the technical area, just motivating them to join the attack. And teams can leave themselves short of numbers when it comes to slowing or stopping opposing counter-attacks. The opponents can then progress further following a transition, meaning bigger and more frequent recovery. Runs back into shape, and this increases the physical demands on the players. A free kick for the Arrows. Santosh. An excellent guide on. The number 4 on the overlap. She has played it out. Parmila. First time the Indian Arrows in this game tried to make something happen from the wings. It's been a dominating first half. It's been quite absorbing. It's still 1-0 though, and Arrows are very much still in this game. Oh, nicely done there by Sandhya. Cannot ride the challenge of Muskan. Anju, corner kick for Sethu Madurai. A goal at this point of time would be put Indian Arrows out of the race. There's the shot, a dipping ball taken by the number 11 from the corner of the area. A goal at that point of time would have made things really very difficult for the Arrows for a comeback. Grace, Aarti. Now she's got space to operate, and now on the give and go, Elizabeth. The goalkeeper does exceedingly well, Adrija, leaving her mark when she was supposed to. She is a daredevil, Adrija. Anju, well seen there. And there's a number 3, Shanmuga Priya, central defender, plays for the Indian Arrows. Elizabeth, a couple of minutes of additional time to the regulated 45. It's a deep cross, and now she is making her way back immediately. Pavitra, an excellent stamina. She's got a wonderful discipline, the number 14, running up and down the pitch. That comfort of hers got to be taken away by the Arrows if they are to salvage something from this game. Giving a tough time on this occasion was the number 7, Amisha Baksla. Her manager will be wanting her to be involved more when they go forward. Side netting that particular cross from the right. Busy defending, Amisha Baksla. Her manager would be wanting her to be more involved, stay in the hole when they look to build an attack, when they look to go forward. Arifa, Grace, were nicely pressed from behind, not allowed to try that Bollywood pass. Look how quickly the Arrows players are now closing in. 5 seconds left in this half. The Arrows is compelled to play it behind. Elizabeth also dropping back to press. And half-time whistle from Kanika Burman. It's been an eventful half for Sethu Madurai. And they are off to a flyer. A chance within the opening 40 seconds. And eventually, on the 16th minute mark, It was the skipper, Sandhya, scoring that goal for her side in the first half. And her strike separating the two teams in this half. And Indian Arrows had a really busy half. They had to defend with bodies on the line, not being able to muster up anything on the opposite end of the pitch. When we come back for the second half, we hope that trend changes. These are the first half stats. 66-34, the ball possession, 9 shots taken in total, 6 of them on target from SETHU. Arrows managed to keep only 1 shot on target in the first half. Now we will have a look at the number of shots taken by the Arrows. Only 2 in the first half, 1 each by Amisha Baksla and Pushpa Rani Chanu. SETHU Madurai taking 7 shots. 2 by Lalarampadi, Renu Rani with 2, Sandhya and Anju Tamang with 1 each. Now we will have a look at the number of fouls committed. 4 by Indian Arrows. Amisha Baksla, Purna Narzari, Parmila, Shanmuga Priya, all committing a foul each. Committing 3 fouls on the flip side, SETHU Madurai, Elizabeth, Lalarampadi and Sandhya with 1 each. And now we will have a look at the first half highlights between the Indian Arrows and SETHU Madurai. Match number 18 kicking off at the Kalinga Stadium. Straight away on the front foot, SETHU Madurai. That was Elizabeth with the header. And Adrija with the save, and once again back-to-back saves by the number 1, and this was Amisha Baksla. Almost broke free for the Arrows, and the shot easily gathered by Devi. Elizabeth denied by Adrija, and almost had to track all the way behind. And Sandhya and Anju with the shot from the right, not on target. Anju's corner drawing a foul on the keeper. And this was the goal scored by Sandhya. Oh, what a delightful run and a cool and calm finish. And Arifa with that through ball, threading it through. Anju's free kick, great height and distance of the glove of the goalkeeper, and also hitting the woodwork. Had a very busy first half, Adrija, between the sticks for the Arrows. And when we come back, it's the second half. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the live coverage of the Hero Indian Women's League with the second half action from the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar, and you are watching it live on the Eurosport and also on the YouTube channel of the Indian football team. This is match number 18, and Indian Arrows taking on SETHU FC Madurai, and the side from the south leading by a solitary goal during the break. A couple of chances for SETHU, no such for Arrows in the first half, and Amisha Buxla with a very weak try from 30 yards out, and Elizabeth's heavy touch spoiling the move for SETHU Madurai. And now Arrows will have to fix their leaks in defence in the second half and fire on all cylinders. But now we are ready then for another 45 minutes. The question is, can Indian Arrows surprise SETHU Madurai and reinforce their supremacy by breaking the jinx? It will be answered in the next 45 minutes. Referee Kanika Burman checking her watch, and we are off then with the second half. The team in pink, SETHU Madurai, will be operating from the left to right of your screen in the second half. And Indian Arrows, the team in blue, will be operating from the right to left. Purna Narzari straight on the attack in the second half. The Arrows option on the right, and I thought Purna Narzari gonna play it to the right for Shanmuga Priya, deciding to go on her own. It was completely scuffed attempt. Indian Arrows just trying to reclaim their winning momentum. Ahead of the big clash, the Arrows head coach Suren Chetri highly regarded their opponents. Said that SETHU Madurai is one of the good teams in this competition. They have well experienced players in the team, and they are playing really good attacking football. Though they are a young side, and now in a lot of space is the number 11 for the Arrows, Sunita Munda, flagged off. And despite being a young side, Arrows, they are ready to face the SETHU Madurai. That was the word from the technical area, technical team. Though they got a lot of chances in the second game against Sports Odisha, played at the battalion ground. They weren't able to capitalize on those chances. Due to this, they shared the points, and they will be looking to bury those chances this time around, if they get any. So far they've been bereft of chances. Muskan with a skillful play, a not productive one, and now Elizabeth can't bring it down. The ball runs all the way behind to Adrija, and no nonsense from the goalkeeper. Excellent chest trap, excellent reverse ball, flag stayed down. Elizabeth is in the middle, rise the challenge, cutting onto her favorite right foot, gets full frame of the goal, and it has gone in. 2-0 for SETHU Madurai. Once again their skipper Sandhya, a brace for her. One in the first half, and this time in the second, riding the challenge, cutting inside, gets full frame of the goal and squirming it under Adrija, beating her at her near post. And 2-0 for SETHU Madurai. Sandhya Singh is having a wonderful campaign. And now well in control of the game. And the side from Tamil Nadu, defending to 2 there for Paudi. And just when it seemed Indian Arrows trying to fight back, the skipper Sandhya playing a spoil sport by scoring the second. Another move. This time wide on the far left, the number 12 Kartika. Support arriving in Anju from 20 yards out. And once again Sandhya asking for it. Keeps the ball in play, gets the cross in. In fact, it's deflected behind for a corner. A corner taken shot. In it comes. Drops it into the danger area. Cleared away by the arrows, and now SETHU Madurai, they stream out. Launching a quick counter. The arrows. But SETHU Madurai, they got plenty of cover behind. One of that provided by Kaushalya. Poking it forward towards Apurna Narzari. Clattering on to Kaushalya was Apurna. Excellent chest down from Muskan. Aarti. Oh, wonderful ball. This could split open the Arrows defense one more time. It's narrowly wide. The flag went up anyway. That goal would not have been counted. Crispin Chetri is still trying to motivate his troops from the touchline. And Kartika flagged off. Caught in possession. Muskan. SETHU Madurai. Hungry for more. One touch build up. Again a decent one. The ball coming in, and in fact a penalty have been awarded to SETHU Madurai. A handball, says Kanika Burman. We'll have a look at the action replay. It will clear doubts what exactly has happened. Initially it did look like a handball incident, and immediately Kanika Burman pointing to the spot, and Kartika will be taking it. Sandhya, she is on a hat-trick. The skipper allowing number 12 to take it. Now she is up against the Arrows goalkeeper Adrija. She has been phenomenal throughout this game, especially in the first half, despite being beaten twice. Made few wonderful saves in this game already. Can she draw a save here and keep her team in the hunt? A change is getting ready for the Arrows. It's going to be the number 8 coming on, Anjana Thapa. And goes off is the jersey number 17, Shanmuga Priya. Arrows, the head coach Suren Chetri deploying a 3 at the back now, bringing on a forward. Here goes Kartika, and it's 3-0 for SETHU Madurai. The keeper judged the right way, but too much pace on the shot. A perfect placement from the number 12, and despite diving the right way, couldn't get the reach of the ball. The placement was perfect from Kartika. There you go. Very nicely taken. This surely curtains now for the Arrows. Trailing by 3-0. Up against the former champions, SETHU Madurai. It is important for them to bag full 3 points from matches like this, especially before taking on Gokulam Kerala. Arifa, Kaushalya. Indian Arrows just trying to reclaim their winning momentum. Suren just wanting his team to be better in the attacking third. He also quipped about it during the press match conference and said, as a developmental team, he wants to see players do better in the attacking third, as in the last game they haven't done that well, struggling to do so in this game as well. Very organized at the back, Sethu Madurai. They are heading towards their third successive victory of this campaign, and it will put them level on points with Kickstart Football Club Gokulam Kerala. Elizabeth. Oh, nicely taken away by Elizabeth. Well covered by Parmila. Saw the Arrows, the midfielder, slightly loose, applying pressure on her and winning it. Pulled from behind, managed to stay on her feet. Sandhya. Sandhya again sets up for a shot for Anju. It's gone over. And goal kick for the Arrows. Quickly doubling up on the number 15 Renu, the number 20 Pushpa Rani. Though they got a lot of chances against Sports Odisha, they failed to capitalize. And in this game, they're struggling to breach open the Sethu Madurai defense. Crispin Chetri, the Sethu gaffer, seemed quite confident and focused ahead of the clash. He said that they are focused and they know what they have to get their job done. They will be eyeing for the top spot. They will be eyeing for the title, and will be willing to qualify for the AFC Women's Club Cup and become the second team from India to do so after Gokulam Kerala. For that, they will have to beat the Malabarians, who are in a rampaging form. Oh, a tremendous run. A complete harassment to the left back, Pavitra. Still fails to produce anything from that particular wing. A certain limitation to the way Arrows they plan to attack. Sometimes it becomes predictable for the midfielders, for the defenders. They got to try and do something different. They got to try and add a bit of a variety in their gameplay. This has been a big difference between these two teams this evening. And now coming central from wide position. Can't win the ball. The number 8, Anjana Thapa. Sethu Madurai The ball just moving from the one end to the other in the blink of an eye. Slightly sloppy there. Chase from Apurna Narzari. Got to take help from Devi, the goalkeeper. She's got quick feet. Sandhya. Anju. That's an excellent ball. Lands precisely for Renu to collect, and shouts of Renu, Renu already. Whenever she is on the ball, and Sandhya was one of them, asking her to pull it back towards the edge of the 18-yard box, but the challenge from Pushpa Rani was on point. Corner kick for Sethu Madurai. Anju taking the corner. In it comes. Trying to put it back into the melee. Double change coming up for Sethu Madurai. Down the line for Karthika. A very strong challenge from Santosh. Muskan as well. A player staying down in Anju. And the number 12 also is down on the deck, as the number 26 comes on for Sethu Madurai. Yuva Rani. In fact, it's a double change made by Crispin Chetri, who represented India in the Asian Youth Championship way back in 1999 in Sri Lanka, formerly with Lone Star Kashmir, and also was in charge of Nawab Bhattacharya's Prayag United under-18 team. Crispin Chetri played in Kolkata as well during his playing days. Yuva Rani is going to be the first change made by Sethu Madurai Football Club. Indian Arrows have brought on Anjana Thapa. Number 23, Sunita Sarkar. I spoke about her during the pre-match studio. A very, very bright prospect, the young midfielder. Those are the two changes made, Sunita and Yuva Rani. So over an hour gone here at the Kalinga Stadium. It is the side from the south leading by 3-0 against the Arrows. A brace from Sandhya, followed by a goal from Karthika, converting it from the spot kick. And in Indian Arrows on the flip side, yet to test Devi, Sethu Madurai goalkeeper. Forcing to play it quick. Players closing in so quickly before the opposition could get into a passing sequence. Sethu Madurai players launching a quick counter press. Excellent coordination from the team in pink. Ball drops into no man's land. And the lofted pass from Amisha Baksla. And I think she excels down the wings. There are plenty of attackers who do not like to play from the middle with defenders at their back. They do a lot more better when they are asked to operate from the channels. And Amisha Baksla is one of them. She is an out-and-out winger. Not a player who would operate down the middle and play those through balls. And Anju, she is limping, taken off. Sunita Sarkar replacing her. Looks like an ankle injury. She's getting treated in the touch line. The coach Crispin Chetri just deciding to save her for the remaining matches. It's all done and dusted here at the Kalinga. Forget about a fight back. The Indian Arrows are even struggling to keep hold of the ball. Sunita Sarkar spreads it out wide. Renu ahead of her. And now Renu. There's the willing runner for SETHU Madurai in the number 15. And sometime the first touches deserting them. 25 minutes of stoppage time remaining in this. There's Arifa turning away from her marker and then laying it out wide for Sandhya. Sandhya towards the corner of the area. One touch too many. And now Arrows are on the ball. Amisha Baksla. A quick exchange near the center circle. Pushing forward again is the Arrows. The vital touch just at the nick of time. And Indian Arrows still looking for an opening, trying to pry them open. SETHU has cast its net across the state with many of its players in the current junior and senior squad having coming through hostels run by the Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu. And the state government have schemes to support sports persons and also set aside funds to make kits and equipments available to the players. And Kaushalya, one of the youngest members in the senior team, and the team's designated TikTok expert as well. And the goalkeeper Archana, one of the new signings in Sandhya, the 2019 IWL most valuable player of the tournament. All came through the Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu's system. And their sponsors have been the backbone of everything they do. And more importantly, their partnerships with government, with educational institutions like Lady Doak College in Madurai and Annamalai University helps them to fulfill their assurances to the players. Meanwhile, a corner kick for SETHU Madurai. It's an in-swing floater, too much pace on it. A punch was strong from Adrija. Time for another change as Narzari, the number 16. Maidang Shri Narzari Coming on and going off is Amisha Baksla. She had a very subdued outing. A very bad day in the office for the Indian Arrows as number 7. As the number 16, Nursery comes on. Oh, Sethu winning it high up inside the opposition's area. Sandhya, oh, wonderful skill from the number 7. So easy on the eye. Almost glides across the grass, the number 7. So smooth. This is Nursery, her first touch. Giving a tough time. Had to spread her legs to get it. Nursery. And now back towards her namesake. A Muskan from distance. Easily collected by Devi. Sethu Madurai, they are looking to tie up and ground tie-ups with the sports development of Tamil Nadu and looking to rope children in early so that they can have a dedicated career and skill development as they grow older. The girls, mostly hailing from small towns, are faced with two immediate concerns: the risk of injury and the question of employment. These are the first things that the parents ask when they scout new talents. Oh, excellent ball over the top. She will reach there. That was Yuvarani. Buys a yard for herself. With a slide rule ball, Yuvarani's cross towards Sandhya's header. It was a stinging ball delivered. I couldn't generate enough power through her neck muscle. Sandhya. And the club owner, Sini, firmly believes that the Hero IWL win was just the beginning for the club. He firmly believes that while it has given the sports much needed attention, the problems in the system won't solve themselves. Once Manipur players, for instance, play the nationals or for the Indian team, they get appointed and get jobs in government there. And that was his verdict. And that's not happening enough in Tamil Nadu. There is a financial support, but it's not enough. And the employment question needs to be handled. And they will approach the government about the same. And when you are the title winners, you enter the next season with double the expectation. You have that much more to lose and twice the number of people to prove wrong. And most of the girls come from humble backgrounds. And while they have achieved so much, the pressure can get overwhelming. And their focus is therefore to train while keeping their confidence high. Renu in full cry from the right. Just time and again trying to avoid the challenge of Pushpa Rani. Corner kick for Sethu Madurai Football Club. And the Sethu staffs, they intend to use the off-season to take the support of the masses. They want to conduct and outreach programs to take the sport more to children's, and they track interested players and see how they can best support them, be it with kits or training. They also want to undertake a coach education program. We'll come back to that. Cross is deflected into a Sandhya. She's on a hat-trick. Flag went up against the Hero IWL's player of the tournament a couple of seasons back. And the way things are going this season for her, I won't be surprised. She will definitely be in the pipeline for the contest this season as well. Looking long on this occasion was Santosh. Karthika. A powerful header. Anjana. Pavitra stood firm. SETHU Madurai, they have a steady regimen. The mornings are dedicated to fitness sessions while evenings are dedicated to time on the field, be it a 11-side game, friendlies with the men's team and any kind of practice match. They have recovery sessions every week as well, which usually involve swimming. So in a month, they have 4 aquatic sessions. There's the arrows, first entry into the box. Side netting, Anjana Thapa. The only highlight moment for the arrows in terms of going forward in attack. That was the chance. Very difficult to take. SETHU Madurai back in the hostel. They have each player's meals matched to their nutrition requirements, and a brief is handed to the caterer. So be it in an injury or low iron levels, everything is monitored and counted. When SETHU lifted the IWL title in May back in 2019, 6 of its members were part of the Indian national team. And Amruta Vilayat was the head coach. Expected that trend to continue as the FIFA Under-17 World Cup is knocking at the door. And now chance to spring a counter here for SETHU Madurai. They've already troubled the arrows thrice. Looking for the 4th one, Yuvarani. Yuvarani's ball into the middle. Well seen by Santosh. And there's that punt upfield by the team in blue. Santosh. Playing like a well-oiled machine, SETHU Madurai. Finding each other well. Good combination play. Excellent precision. Karthika's cross. There's the header from Renu. Lacked power. And the cross also came in at a tremendous pace. I just needed a glancing header, Renu. It was a difficult chance to convert, to execute. SETHU Madurai playing possession football. Well, 12 minutes of regulation time left on the clock. And they are planning another move using their skipper, Sandhya. Wrong foot's Pushparani. Sandhya keeps going. And then choosing Arifa. She goes on the overlap. An early ball played into the box. And not doing any damage this time to the arrows. plenty of headaways this time for the Arrows. The goalkeeper eventually getting there first. Number 11, Sunita Munda, making a run. And Arrows and the SETHU Madurai both getting a change ready. Is the number 17, Durga, who will come on for SETHU Madurai. And Arrows are bringing on Ritu. Put in a great shift, Grace, well known as Lalrampuri, from Mizoram. She is going to be replaced by Durga. Ritu will be coming on for Sunita Munda. End of her evening. Bringing on a defender. And the Arrows looking to stop SETHU Madurai from extending the lead further. Goalkeeper is very aware of her surroundings. Just had to come out and collect a few balls. Devi in the second half, not involved that much in the game. Crispin Chetri just asking Renu to take her time on the ball and not give away possession in haste. They are up by 3 goals. No need to panic. Just play the ball to feet. Just toss it around. Keep possession. But they've got all the ingredients in the team which could see them lift the title. And the game against Gokulam Kerala is going to be really an interesting one. Looking for that gap behind the defense line, but no player in blue was present. Arrows snapping into the challenge. This is Nursery, taken away from her by Kartika. Wide on the far right, Sandhya. Challenge comes in from the number 15. That is Aarti. And this man is frustrated, Suren Chetri. Things haven't gone according to his plan. Rub up the green, not going their way. Ball from deep. Using her height brilliantly on this occasion. Padmila. Yuva Rami. Sunita. And now the door opens up. Sandhya. A perfectly timed challenge from Aarti. She was tracking her. Couldn't pick the pass out. Another firm block away. Sandhya, can she complete her hat-trick? Goes out wide. Kept in play by Pushparani, and now she puts it out. And that is Ritu. She's come on in the second half. The number 5 and the number 6 for Sethu Madurai. Amsa Vali and Durga P, a defender and a forward. The number 6 will be coming off. So no Mariammal tonight. Mariammal Balmurugan. She scored in Sethu FC's 6-1 win. And against Mata Rukmani, they've had 6 different goal scorers, which goes on to show that they have goals all across the pitch. Even 2 different goal scorers against ARA Football Club. Sandhya and Renu got on the score sheet on that game. Kartika, and asking for it was the number 5. She gets it. A run offered by Renu. She paused for a minute, expecting that the defenders would step up. That was not unintentional, of course. There was no malice intended. And she needs treatment. So time ticking away for the Arrows. It's been a very tiring game for the women's in blue. Starting with a win, then a draw and a loss tonight against Sethu Madurai. They have conceded just 1 goal so far in the competition. It's going to be their 2nd successive clean sheet if they do not concede in this game. And they have scored 11 goals. A goal difference of +10 if this game ends this way. Kanika Parman will restart play with a drop in. A couple of minutes of regulation time left. Santosh. Shouts of Ritu, the newcomer. And bouncing down the right hand side is Amsa. Renu, excellent shoulder barge from Pushparani. She is having a decent game in the second half, the left full back for the Arrows. And now stepping up. A bit of an unfamiliar territory for Pavitra. A run continued by Yuvarani. Yuvarani has got time and space on the ball to send in a quality cross. Struggling to do so, Amsa. Now the flag stayed down. Sunita Sarkar's ball in. Back to her again. A chance for Sethu Madurai to redeliver. Amsa through ball. It's just too long for Karthika. It's going to be 3 teams on equal points. SETHU Madurai, a Kickstart Football Club of Karnataka, and the Gokulam Kerala. The Malabarians will continue to keep to occupy the top spot, and not just in the Hero Indian Women's League but also in the Hero I League as well. Gokulam Kerala having 6 points advantage over second placed Mohammedan Sporting. They're going through a golden patch of form. Yuvarani, 4 minutes of additional time. Momentarily, Sethu Madurai, they are down to 10 players. One of them having some trouble getting treated. And there she is, Muskan Subha, doing all the dirty work for the Arrows in midfield. The full-backs struggled to contend against the likes of Sandhya and Karthika. The number 7 made a huge impact in this game. And the point and the plan 1 from the Arrows should be to minimize the threat of Sandhya. We haven't seen that happening tonight. She was afforded time and space to operate in. No such plan against the number 7. She is in a remarkable form this season. A free kick for Sethu Madurai. It's Durga. Goes straight towards the penalty area, headed away by the Arrows. She will get another bite at the cherry. Sunita Sarkar. Interception there from Pushpadani. Still fighting for the ball. Azamsa. Arifa. Amsha again, continuing to stay up. It was a misplaced pass. And now Arrows, the break is on for the team in blue. Nursery. Ritu. That's the towering header from Paudi. Just a minute remaining of the clock. Lots of defending deep inside the area. Overruns. It was Durga. An excellent ball for Amsa. She's got a lot of time to pick out a good cross. It was, in fact, it's a low one towards Renu. The last 20 seconds remaining. Renu Rani, she's had 5 attempts. Grace had 3. Sandhya had 3 as well. And that's the full-time whistle here at the Kalinga Stadium. And it's Sethu Madurai continuing their momentum, continuing their winning spree. 3 in a row for the side from Tamil Nadu. And this win taking them on 9 points from 3 matches with a goal difference of +10. And they will be a third after this victory tonight. Gokulam Kerala remains at the top. A kickstart at second. And Indian Arrows falling to a defeat into the hands of the former champions. And their first defeat, in fact, of the season. An excellent performance from SETHU Madurai. And they are a force to be reckoned with, proving themselves once again tonight here at the Kalinga Stadium. It's gonna be the skipper Sandhya, the hero of the match. The number 7 awarded a 5,000 rupees check powered by Hero Motorcorp Limited for that wonderful brace, as she is now on 3 goals from 3 games. These are the match stats. Sandhya scoring on the 16th and 48th minute mark, and then Karthika converting one from the spot kick. 65% possession of the ball, 35 in favor of the Arrows. 15 shots taken by SETHU in this game, 10 of them on target, and 9 fouls committed. They have edged the Arrows in each and every department, even on the offside list. Only 4 shots taken by the Arrows in this game. Baksla Misha, Pushparani Chanu, Muskan Shubha, Anjana Thapa, all of them with a shot each. The other number of shots taken by SETHU Football Club. Renu Rani with the most, 5. Lalram Pari with 3, Sandhya with 3, Karthika with 2, and Anju Thamang. Those 2 red dots, and Karthika's one from the spot kick. She's had 2 shots on target, one of them resulting into a goal. 7 fouls committed by the Arrows. Amisha Baksla, Sunita Munda, Apurna Narzari, Padmila, Ritu, and Shanmuga Priya. All of them on that list. SETHU Madurai, they've committed 9 fouls in this game, 16 on total. If you take into account fouls committed by both the teams in this game. Karthika with 2, Durga with 1, Elizabeth, the Kenyan striker, with 1. She was taken off in the second half. Lalram Pari, Renu Rani, and Sarkar Sunita with 1 fouls each. Now let's have a look at the match highlights between SETHU Madurai and Indian Arrows. Kanika Burman blowing the whistle. We were underway, and there's the cross from Renu Elizabeth with the header, and that vital touch from Santosh. Nadrija fumbles and then gathers it up. Amisha Baksla, her shot was blocked at the right time, and this was another grounder, easy for Devi. And Elizabeth, her second touch, letting her down, and Anju's attempt hitting the side netting. And this was the opening goal of the game, scored by Sandhya. Tracking the pass of Arifa and making it 1-0. That gentle touch past the goalkeeper and then placing it in from a difficult angle. Another attempt on goal. Elizabeth, well marshalled by Santosh, and that is how the first half ended. And once again Sandhya riding the challenge and making it 2-0. Weaving through the eye of a needle, the number 7. The Indian Arrows defense falling apart. Karthika was offside, and this is how she converted the spot kick, making it 3-0 for SETHU Madurai. There was a handball committed inside the box by Indian Arrows, and Sandhya setting it up for Anju. Goes over the top. Karthika's cross in, a header from Renu, no power on it, and that's the full-time whistle from Kanika Burman. This is how it's ended. Indian Arrows 0, SETHU Madurai Football Club 3. So thanks for joining us. and goodbye from the Kalinga Stadium.